sometimes the issue comes up, should I gift my rental property to a family member to get it out of my estate? And so the general rule for estate taxes is that everyone has at least in 2017, a $5.5 million annual gifting exclusion. So if someone dies and their estate is under $5.5 million, there's no estate taxes. So when the question comes up, should I gift this rental property to get it out of my estate to avoid estate taxes? First, you have to look to see if you'd even be subject to estate taxes, okay? And let's say that you were going to be subject to estate taxes. Let's say your estate is $7 million. Then what you should do is to really take an inventory of all the assets in your estate to see which assets make the most sense to gift out to get under the 5.5 million. So, because you can be more aggressive with some valuation on some assets than others. So for example, let's say someone had $5 or $4 million of stocks and bonds and $2 million of real estate. Well, stocks and bonds, the valuation of those are pretty fixed. They're whatever they're worth on the date of death. But with real estate, sometimes there's some flexibility there in terms of the appraisal process, and there might be people might be able to be aggressive to the extent they feel possible on the valuation of those assets. So anyway, bottom line is, if you're over 5.5 million, take an inventory of your assets and see which ones make most sense to gift out. If you're under the $5.5 million, then normally it makes sense to wait until the parent passes away. So I'll give you an example. Let's say the parent buys a rental property for $500,000, and now it's worth $1 million. And they have bought it for $500,000. They've taken some depreciation, so now their tax cost in that property is only $200,000. It's worth $1 million. If they gift it to their daughter's tax basis is now $200,000. So when she goes to sell it, if she sells it for $1 million, she's going to have to pay taxes on $800,000. But if the parent waits until they pass, and let's say when they pass, that rental property is worth $1 million, that daughter gets what's called a date of death step up in cost. And so now her tax cost basis is $1 million, which is the value of the property at the parent's death. So if she goes and sells the property for $1 million, she has no tax. But if the parent would have gifted it to her before the parent passed away, her tax basis is only $200,000, and now she's got to pay taxes on $800,000. So for people whose estates are under $5.5 million, normally it makes most sense to gift the property or have the property transferred to the child at death. That's the general rule for tax purposes. Now, we have run into some situations where maybe the parent's trying to qualify. There's some other issues other than just direct tax issues, and you have to factor all those into the equation. So for example, maybe the parent's trying to qualify for Medicaid, and they're having some health problems, and they don't have any long-term care insurance, and now they have too many assets, so they don't qualify for these benefits. So in certain situations, it may make sense to go ahead and gift the properties before the parent passes. But the general rule is to wait.